Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to the channel. Thanks for the love and the support. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so. And if you've subscribed, please kindly turn on your notifications so you get notified when I post a new video. Alright, in this tutorial I'm going to be learning how to make a bolero jacket. So if this is what you're looking out for, please stay tuned as we get right into the video. So as you can see, I have my pattern paper folded in two, and the length of this pattern paper is 17. So actually the length of the jacket is 16, but I went ahead to add extra 1 inch to this, so that's why I have 17. Alright, so the length actually depends on you and the client you're making for. So having done this, go ahead and get the length you want. Then now we're going to start drafting out our basic body. So it's just as easy as drafting out the basic bodies for this. So I'm going to be marking out my bust point first, which is on 10. Now after I'm done marking up, I'll usually go 2 inches above my bust point, which is 8. So that will give me my chest line. So now what I'm just doing is I'm just replicating those measurements on the other part so that I can have a straight line. So I'm just going to measure 8, which is my chest line, and then 10, which is my bust point. Then I'm going to be connecting this with a ruler. Sorry guys, I ran out of the marker pen, so I'll be using a pencil. So guys, once I'm done connecting now, I'll just go ahead now and start working on other parts. So for this part now, I'm going to be dividing my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So there I have 14 divided by 2 and I have 7. So go ahead and mark that on yours as well. Your shoulder circumference divided by 2. So on the chest line, I'll go ahead and mark that same 7 inches there, and I'll connect it. So I have 7 on the chest line and 7 on my shoulder, pardon me. So now that I have a straight line, what I'm going to do is I'll just basically make a curve for this. So I'm just trying to use my marker pen to make this more visible, although it is painted already. I just wanted it to be clearer for us to see. I hope it is manageable. Alright, so having done this now, I'll be working on my bust pan. So on the chest line, I'll take my round bust measurement and I'll divide that by 4 and I'll mark it here. So I'm working with a bust of 38 inches. I'll divide that by 4 and I'll mark what I have there. Then I will do the same thing again. I will repeat it for the chest line and then for the bust line, just like I did earlier. So on this part now, I'm just going to be sloping the shoulder with half an inch. So this actually depends on you, but for this I'm just going to be sloping because I'm going to be using this pattern directly on the fabric. So I'll just slope this and blend into the neckline or into the shoulder like this. So I slope by half an inch. Now I'm going to be working on the armhole. So for the armhole, I'm just going to get what I have from my shoulder slope, the midpoint of that, or half of it. I'll make a point on it, and from that part I'll make a curve for my armhole. So I'm not going to be differentiating the back and the front armhole. I'm just going to be using this for both the two, because I'm going to be using this pattern for both the front and the back. Alright, let's continue. So I'm going to just use this to arrange a nice curve and then make my armhole. So from the point I have there, I'll connect to where I have my bust measurement. That is where my bust measurement ends. So if you've done this to this stage, I think you've done well. So I'll just make this more visible for you to see. So this is what the armhole will be looking like. Alright, now we'll go ahead and take other measurements that we're going to be needing for this. Now keep in mind that I have not added any allowance to this. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'll just go ahead to add 1 inch allowance to the bust point and then to the chest line. And then on the waist, I'm just going to take my waist measurement divided by 4 as well. So 30 divided by 4 will give me 7.5. Then I will add 1 inch allowance to this. So this is a bolero jacket and I'm not going to be including any dart on this. So it is actually optional. You can go ahead and add that to yours if you want, but for this I think there is no need for me to be putting a dot on this. So I'll just connect from that point to where I have my waist measurement. So keep in mind that I've already added 1 inch allowance to this body circumferences. So here my marker was a bit fainty, so I'll just go ahead and use my pencil. Please bear with me, guys. So this is basically it for the back pattern. Remember, I'm going to be using this for the back pattern. Now what is left is just the neckline. So I'm going to be using the normal neckline standard one, which is 3 by 3, which is for the front, but because this is the back, I'm going to be using 3 by 1 inch. So the back is going to be higher, so I'm just going to use the wideness as 3 and then the depth of this as 1 inch. So this is actually optional depending on how deep you want the neckline to be. So now I'll use my curve to arrange a nice curve for the neckline. So go ahead and do the same thing for yours. Alright, now remember I'm going to be cutting the back first, so I'll just blend this into the armhole slope I have earlier. Now please pay attention to how I'll be cutting this out. So you want to go ahead and cut from this part as you can see me doing. So just cut gradually, and then now we'll be cutting on the armhole part. Just follow the lines you have already. Please guys, we're going to be using this pattern for the back drafting first. Please go ahead and use it for the back first before you work on the front. So you want to go ahead and cut this on your fabric before you start working on the front piece. So just go ahead and cut your shoulder slope. Now cut your neck measurement as well. So this is what the back pattern looks like. So I'll just go ahead and open this for us to see. As you can see, this is what our back pattern will look like. Now use this to cut on your fabric so that you have the back pattern ready. Now I'll be using this now to work on the front. After I'm done using it to cut on my back, please don't forget to use this to cut on your back. Now for the front piece now, I'm just going to go ahead and take note of where I have my allowance on the sides. So I'll make that more visible. The 1 inch allowance I added on that part, I'll just draw a straight line to indicate where the allowance is. So there is my allowance. Then from that allowance point, I'm going to be measuring about 3 to 3.5 inches. So this is optional, depends on how much space you want to have on that side and how open you want your bolero jacket to be. So for mine, I'm going to be using 3.5 after my allowance. Take note that that is why I indicated my allowance first. So 3.5 inches after my allowance, but plus my allowance I have 4.5 inches. Now from this part where my neck is, that is where my neck measurement stop, I'm going to be making a curve from that part to where I have my 3.5 inches. Now you can go ahead and make this more curvy as you can see me doing, and then you can also reduce it depending on how much space you want to have in between your jackets. So for this is how I'm going to be using it. So as you can see, it's made a C. So you want to go ahead and make a curve like this. So this is just a freehand sketch, and then anybody can easily work with this. So make a curve, and then notice that it is blending into my shoulder, not where directly on where I have my neckline stopping. So I'll just make a curve like this to the 3.5 inch I have on that part. I hope this is really clear enough, guys. Now blend that in so you have a C just like this. So the spaces you have depend on how open you want it to be, like I said. So if you want it to be more open, you can go ahead and give it a nicer curve so that you have a lesser space here on this part. So I think this is perfect for me, and then this is the space I have here. So for the middle part of this, like I said, you can go ahead and reduce this. That is, make sure you have enough spacing between, but this is just perfect for what I'm working with. So I'll just cut on that C lines I've created. So cut, 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 cut. So once I'm done cutting this, I'll just open this up and show us. Keep in mind that this will end on that shoulder part right there. Exactly. So this is what the same thing you're going to be doing. So this is how much excess I removed from mine. Like I said, this is optional. You can remove as much as you want. So this is what my bolero jacket pattern looks like. So this is how open I want mine to be. So you can reduce it. As you can see my hand tracing, you can reduce it as much as you want, but this is just perfect for what I'm going to be working with. So now I'll use this to cut on my fabric as well, and then we'll continue with the sewing of this. So as you can see, my allowance are on the side. This is where I rolled out my allowance before I started making my curve. So now I'll take this to my sewing machine. So this is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to use a bias to turn this part, the curvy part, which is the bolero curvy part. So I used the bias to turn that. This is actually depending on you. You can also as well use the fabric. And then for the back piece, I went ahead to turn the neckline also. So what I'm just going to do is I'll place this together, right side facing right side, and then I'll stitch down the shoulder of this together. So just watch carefully and see what I'm doing. So I'll be adding another beautiful sleeve style to this bolero jacket. So this is actually optional. You can go ahead and add whichever sleeve design you want for your jacket. So go ahead and stitch down your shoulder, and then I will as well sew that part, and that is hem that part, before I go ahead and stitch the 1 inch allowance I have on both sides together. So after your shoulder, go ahead and then hem the back with the allowance you gave, which is 1 inch, before you stitch the side. So please don't forget to stitch the sides as well. So guys, this was what I had after I was done. I've gone ahead to fold on that part, at least to hem it. Also, I went ahead to join the shoulder, and that was what I had. So now I'll be working on the sleeve of this. So this is already looking so beautiful, as you can see. Now I already went ahead to cut out my sleeve for this. So this is just going to be a long sleeve with a bit of a peplum on the lower part. So this is the peplum I'm going to be using. It is just a circle, and I just made a curve for the wrist. Now this is the sleeve. So I've shortened the length of this sleeve because the peplum is going to be completing it. Now just go ahead now to sew these sides down using the measurements I've taken already for the sleeve. And then after I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and fold the down part of my peplum on my circle. So lovelies, I've gone ahead to fold those parts now, and I would like to show us what it looks like. So this is what the peplum part looks like. So I already worked on the two, and then this is the sleeve. So now I'll be joining the peplum to the sleeve first, then I'll be showing us an easy way to do that. So you want to go ahead and notch the middle part of your sleeve and then the middle part of your peplum as well. So I'm going to be notching this on 2 parts so that it is easy for us to get the midpoint of the both sides. So this is how I'm going to be fixing in my peplum directly on my sleeve. So I want to make sure that I notch the center of this, and then the other joining will serve as the other center. So I have it in halves. Now notch on both sides of this as well. Now on the two parts I notch here, I'll just make sure it fits into the two parts that I notched on the sleeve as well. I hope this is clear, guys. So place this right side facing right side, as you can see me doing, like this. Then I will use my pin to hold down those parts I notched and then sew into other parts. So this is what I'm going to have. Now I'll just take this to my sewing machine like this and stitch this down, and I'll be back to show us what this actually looks like. So my loves, this was what I had after I was done. As you can see, it looks so beautiful already. So I've attached the peplum parts to both of the sleeves. Now what is left for us to do is just to attach the sleeve to the bolero jacket, pardon me. So you want to go ahead and mark the shoulder part of your sleeve as well. Go ahead and notch it right there. Then notch for the other one as well. Keep in mind that I already measured my armhole, and it is what I have on my armhole that I use for the upper part of my sleeve. So having notched that, I'm going to be fixing the sleeve this way. So make sure that the sleeve is in like this, as you can see me doing. Then use your pin to hold on that part you've notched, which is your shoulder. Make sure it is directly sitting on where your shoulder is, and then use a pin to hold that down. So this part I notched is going to be facing this shoulder part, as you can see. Then I will pin that down, and then the other part, which is the middle of this, will be on the armhole part, that is on the armpit part of this as well. So I'll just go ahead and fix this down and then take this to my sewing machine. So you want to pay attention to how I'm going to be attaching this. So you hold this down with the pin, and then take note of the shoulder joining as well for the parts you notch, and then place it and hold it with a pin as well. I'm really sorry, my hand is blocking. So lovely, this was what I had after I was done. So I've gone ahead to fix the sleeve, and this was what it came out as. So guys, if you find this video helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you've not subscribed to the channel, kindly do so. And if you are a subscriber, please turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified when I post a new video. And if you have any question, kindly leave them in the comment section. I really appreciate you for watching. Thank you.